Rinkcast, welcome back. Season 9, episode 2. We're going to talk about rookie camp, the Tom Curvers tournament. We are going to talk about Wyatt Kaiser. We are going to talk about the Nazar contract, which we've not talked about yet. We are itching for training camp to start. It's time for the Blackhawks season to start. Sean Fitzgerald's here, Jimmy O'Malley ESQ, and the Bard. What's shaking, guys? How are you all? Bardo, what's going on? Are you ready for hockey season? What's the deal, man?
Ready. We're about a week and a half from preseason games. Let's go.
Yep. Time to go. Shawnee, what are you wearing and how are you feeling?
I have a Blackhawks Winter Classic hat from 2019.
Okay.
And a Marian Hossa jersey from around that era.
Jersey. Is that
jersey?
That's a thing? They call them jerseys?
Yeah, it's got his name on the back and his number. It's called a jersey.
Jersey. It was just called like a player T-shirt or something.
I mean,
jersey.
I should actually show off my T-shirt tonight.
Oh, I like it.
I may be from New York, but my team is from Chicago.
Correct.
There we go.
Awesome. Jimmy, what jerseys are you into these days, and how are you, and how are things? And you excited to talk Hawks, talk your Rock Vegas article?
I don't have a lot of jerseys. I have a decent amount of jerseys, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited about this upcoming Rockford season as well. I think a lot like last season, we're seeing a lot of pretty interesting prospects coming around the bend down in Rock Vegas, and it should be another season of paying attention down there.
Yeah. Love it. Excellent.
Geographically, it's up there.
I don't understand what just happened, but awesome. Hey, let's get into something real quick. And you call us late to the party, whatever. We did not have a podcast. We had a podcast the night before Frank Nazar signed his new contract. But I guess what kind of triggers this conversation or reignites the flame is today Dustin Wolf of the Calgary Flames signed a 7-year, $52.5 million contract extension after one season with the Calgary Flames. So his annual value is going to be $7.5 million that kicks in next year. And 7 years, I believe now, is the maximum term in the NHL. Wyatt Kaiser. We will talk about Wyatt Kaiser. He's not signing a 7-year deal for sure. Frank Nazar in late August, $46.13 million contract with the Blackhawks. 7-year contract extension. $6.59 million AAV. A bargain. What could end up being a bargain. He has one 30-goal season. It's a bargain. But what's going on here? I mean, now Wolf signs a 7-year deal. That's a goalie. Now, there are going to be meatballs out there. They're going to say, oh, Nazar, and they're going to compare the Nazar and Wolf contract. The Nazar seems like a little bit of a safer bet than signing a 7-year goalie contract for 1 year type deal. Let's go to Jimmy real quick. Jimmy, talk about the Nazar contract. Talk about the Wolf contract. I guess kind of a comparison, even though they really don't compare. And is this the new trend in the NHL?
Yeah, I mean, my first comparison to it with this trend, it's for our baseball fans out there. It kind of reminds me of the Ronald Acuna, Ozzie Albies contracts. If you guys remember back when Ozzie Albies signed his contract, I believe back in 2019, it was widely lauded as the worst player contract in the MLB for a player. Like everyone said, like Ozzie Albies got screwed, and
because he took way less money. Yes,
he took way less money. Same with Ronald Acuna. They basically, skipped arbitration in those contracts and said, "Hey, we're going to pay you like way up front and save a few bucks down the road, and we're going to hedge our bets." And this is, to me, this is the exact same thing. No player has ever played less NHL games than Frank Nazar and has received this kind of money. I mean, what was it, $41.6 million total contract value. If he becomes the player I think all us Blackhawks fans believe he can be, which is a solid borderline first-line center, most likely second-line center with the belief that Connor Bedard is going to be that guy, this should be a contract that ages extremely well. Compared to Dustin Wolf, it's kind of the same thing. Calgary looked at a very strong rookie season and said, okay, we're expecting him to keep this up. We should probably pay him now before we're in a situation like, the New York Rangers were in, or Boston Bruins were in, where crap, it's coming up on the contract here. Now we got to pay Shesterkin. Now we got to pay Swayman. And now we got to, go up into this, 7-digit AAV contracts instead of, 7 to 8 million. Is it a risk? Sure. Every contract is a risk, but this is the Blackhawks and the Flames going, hey, I want to cash in before these guys hit peak value, and I don't want to pay peak value. So it's like, well, it's just hedging your bets, and I think both franchises should make out like bandits if everything goes well.
Yeah, Bardo, is this a case of just the cap going up and incrementally it's probably going to go up again in a couple of years? And is that why you're seeing kind of these chances being taken on guys like Nazar, on guys like Wolf? I've never been a fan of paying goalies big money, just in general. And so, I mean, obviously, to Jimmy's point, calculated risk, but are we going to see more of this? And is this going to be the norm?
I think we are because, like Jimmy said, I think it is the trend that started in baseball. I mean, the Red Sox then picked up and started doing it, and then the Orioles just did it this year with Samuel Basallo, who just literally had 5 at-bats, and they decided to extend him for 8 years. So I think this is the NHL's version of it. I think we're going to see more of it. And just like you, I am not a fan of paying goalies. So to me, I mean, look, I understand the spirit of why they're doing it, very similar, just to get them locked up early. But what else do they have? I just don't know if I would literally put all my, or put a good chunk of resources into a goaltender right now. I would just wait till you're starting to build the other team and you're figuring out the rest of the roster. But I'm just not a fan of paying goalies.
Yeah, I'm not either. I mean, part of Calgary's dilemma is Dustin Wolf is the best thing they have going.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah. Period. I mean, I think that they're really in a place right now where, they've lost free agents, they've made bad trades. Kachuk is gone. That's going to go down as one of the worst trades in NHL history. Mm-hmm. Probably. Johnny Gaudreau walked a few years ago, and so now they're just in a position where they probably have to do this, which is scary. But I guess, Sean, I want to jump on this one right now. As a lot of prognosticators, Blackhawk fans are thinking, what might this mean for Spencer Knight? Spencer Knight, who has played more NHL games, his resume might not be as thick for one time period, but he's coming up on a contract year now. What does this mean for him?
I think it means that he's going to get probably Dustin Wolf money. Cost certainty is a thing. Like, that's what NHL teams are starting to do. That's what the Tampa Bay Rays did many years ago by locking up Evan Longoria after one game. And so I think he's going to get a longer term deal because you don't want to get into like a bridge deal situation, like what Minnesota got in with Marco Rossi.
Mm-hmm.
Where they had to pay him.
Good, Sean. Good.
Yeah, they had to pay him 3 years at $5 million per for a bridge deal, and then it's going to cost them more in the long run. If you lock somebody up early, like Calgary did with Wolf, like the Hawks did with Nazar, and like they're probably going to do with Spencer Knight, you know exactly what the dollar amount's going to be for your cap going forward. So you have that already figured out, so you know how much money you have to play with in other positions.
Yeah. So when is this going to happen for Spencer Knight? When do you start these negotiations?
Well,
do you wait till he gets 10 wins? Do you wait till it's like
is this the last year of his contract?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, so then they have to the window. They can start negotiating with him now. So maybe that's on Kyle Davidson's to-do list because obviously they don't have a lot of cap commitments. Right. They have the legendary, not Carey Price. They didn't get Carey Price's deal. I'm trying to think.
Shea Weber
on the books for the salary cap floor. But if they add Spencer Knight's deal they'll have term and they'll have money locked up, so they won't have to like be taking on bad contracts and signing bums to big deals to meet the floor.
Well,
I think it should happen. They're probably negotiating right now.
They might be. And I mean, if I'm Spencer Knight, there might be, he and his agent might be licking their chops. I mean, listen to this for a minute. I mean, Dustin Wolf has played 71 games in the NHL, 71 appearances, 2.73 goals against average, and a .906 overall save percentage compared to Spencer Knight, 95 games played, also 24 years old, 2.82 goals against average, .904 save percentage. So eerily similar. Statistically,
Knight came out before he graduated. Wolf, I think, played all 4 years and then came out, correct?
he did, and I guess you could say Knight is not a bona fide starter yet.
No.
I don't think that he has not been the guy. And Dustin Wolf, I think a lot of people, felt that he should have been Rookie of the Year. Or, I mean, with 53 games technically in his rookie year, I mean, he had an outstanding campaign.
Well, and because he came out after 4 years of college, he only had to sign the 2-year ELC as opposed to when Spencer Knight had to sign the 3-year. So he had the benefit of only playing 1 season before they could negotiate a new contract for him. Or Knight had to play his 3 years before they started to negotiate that deal. So I think that got to be taken into consideration here too as well.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately everyone hopes Spencer Knight works out and they do extend him for a while.
Yep.
Kudos to Kyle Davidson for, this is one though, Bardo, to your point, I would not want the Blackhawks to do this with Knight right now. It's not the thing to do with a goalie right at this moment.
No, you bridge him.
No, and Kyle Davidson did this with Vlasic, and he did it with Nazar. But these are skaters. It's a different deal. And the Vlasic contract, I mean, that is a joke how affordable and cheap that is right now. I mean,
I'm not saying Spencer Knight a 7-year deal right now. I'm sorry.
Right.
I said, I would give him, like you said, a bridge deal. I would want to see him also how he comes into camp, how he handles himself, how he plays out of the gate. I would want to see all of that. And then look, I would give him maybe a 3-year deal tops.
Yeah. The jersey coming off the shelf in Calgary right now is Dustin Wolf. It's not Spencer Knight in Chicago.
Right.
That's not
right. That's the problem. Dustin Wolf is like the face of the franchise. Spencer Knight is not.
Yeah. So interesting.
Well, and swinging back to Nazar, another crucial point is everybody this is the last. He still has to play his last year at his $975,000 before his extension kicks in. So if he hits 30 goals this season, you've already won because you've already paid him less than what he would have got had he scored 30 goals before signing the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So cost certainty and projection and all that stuff comes into play here. And I know we don't like fancy stats and analytics and stuff like that, but I think that comes into play here. Like you said, skaters age better than goalies do.
Oh, yeah.
You also build your team from in front of the goalie out. Your defense, and then you build, down the middle. You could find your wings all around, and then goaltenders. You could just, Blackhawks won 3 Stanley Cups with using 2 goalies, different goalies, and largely because their defense was so freaking good in front of them that it was just limiting shots and just asking them to say, hey, you know what, make the big save when we need you. I think Corey Crawford was probably better than that. He turned out to be better than that. Especially in the postseason, but that's why you don't need to overpay for these guys.
Yeah, good stuff. I like it. So, that's exciting. Now, one guy the Blackhawks are not paying right now is number 44, is Wyatt Kaiser. Everyone is still waiting for restricted free agent Wyatt Kaiser to sign with the Blackhawks. Ultimately, he probably will. Jimmy, why has it taken this long? Ben Pope, are you out there listening? We're talking about your guy, Wyatt Kaiser, who 2 years ago, his tires were pumped significantly. The Rink wrote an article in October of 2023 saying fans are wise to temper their expectations of Wyatt Kaiser. Jimmy, why isn't Wyatt Kaiser signed yet, and what is going to happen here?
Well, I think I kind of alluded to this earlier in a pod. I really don't think it's money. I think it's contract structure, and I think it also has to do with negotiating kind of where he is in the lineup. I have a weird feeling that the Blackhawks want to give this guy a 2-way deal and want him to go back between Rockford and Chicago. Kind of like Nolan Allen and Ethan Del Mastro. And there may be a situation where him and his agent are like, no, I want this to be a one-way deal. If I'm not in the NHL with the Blackhawks, I'd rather be somewhere else. In the NHL, I don't see myself as a 2-way guy. And maybe the Blackhawks are going, hey, we still want to get guys in the NHL and rotate people in. And having a 2-way contract helps us with that. they could also, kind of alluding to that, it may come to roster spot. Maybe Wyatt Kaiser is getting a sneaky suspicion that the team values other left-handed defensemen, like Kevin Korchinski or Ethan Del Mastro more than him. And who knows how it is with the Blackhawks and Nolan Allen. Would see how he kind of fits in. And then there's other left-handed defensemen that are kind of sneaking around the edges that may or may not be getting bigger looks. I'm talking guys like Tage Harding, Ty Henry. I mean, these guys are just about to get into the professional scene. So I'm less inclined at this point to think it's about money. I'm more inclined to think this may be a situation about the Blackhawks wanting a contract that's flexible with all their other defensive prospects, and Wyatt Kaiser being a little bit more a thing of RFAs, as we all know. It's a
It's a frozen screen.
Yeah.
Oh, he's back. He's on and off.
Tell the hands to run quicker.
Yeah. Well,
it allows a player to basically be.
Go ahead.
Am I cutting in and out?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Oh, sorry.
That's
There's
all right.
always
So
one every
basically,
show, and it's usually me.
Yeah,
But
Bardo,
anyway,
is it? Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, it's just it's a situation where I don't think it's money. I think it's playing time. And the thing with RFAs, it's basically you have until December 1st to have this player sign where he's not eligible to play the rest of the year. So it's a quiet Cold War, it feels like, between Wyatt Kaiser and the Blackhawks, where Blackhawks have so many left-handed defensive prospects. Wyatt Kaiser, did he have a pretty decent year for his standards in 2024, 2025? I'd say so, and he's doing his best to get the most money and most playing time out of it. Because probably the big thing is obviously not just money. It's like, hey, I want a contract after this contract, and getting a contract after this one is playing time and exposure in the NHL.
This might be his final chance to cash in as an NHL hockey player.
Yeah.
So
and he knows he has to do it in the NHL.
Yeah. So
because if it's a two-way deal and the second half of his deal is buried in the AHL, he's not getting another contract.
No, but Bardo, is it just as simple as Wyatt Kaiser? You're just really not a priority right now.
I actually think he's going to get traded. I really do. I think there's too much silence here. I mean, these RFAs just don't have any leverage, and he should have been signed already. I mean, we're literally a week and a half before training camp. I think he's going to get traded. I think you're going to see, it's a numbers game at this point. They have so many defensive prospects that now's the time to just flip them. Don't pay somebody that you're just not going to use regularly, because clearly he wants to be used, in the everyday lineup, and he's probably just not a priority, like you said. I think he's going to get traded. I don't know for what. I don't know for what, but I think he's just going to get traded. And somebody may value him more than others, but I think they've spent a lot of time, I think, assessing the market. I think he's gone.
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what. That's a great call, and I don't. That might be, maybe that's the holdup. Who knows? But at the same, you might need to wait till the beginning of training camp, and you might need to call teams so they can see what they've got.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that because there's prospect camps going on and all this stuff. So I think teams are going to be looking to see, okay, well, look at our pipeline and look at our depth chart. Some guys like, in the case of the Blackhawks, you have like Levshinov. Well, yeah, he might be ready. If not, he'll be the first one called up from Rockford if he starts there. Ty Henry, as you said, there's going to be a bunch of guys that they're going to look at and say, you know what, we've got all these guys that are really, really close. We're not going to extend Wyatt Kaiser. We're going to trade him while we can.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be, during, like you said, during training camp. I mean, Shawnee, we're left-handed shot defenseman Ethan Del Mastro. Where's he going to fit in? He might be in there ahead of Kaiser. And then to your point, Bardo, maybe then Kaiser's on the move. Shawnee, what can you even get for Wyatt Kaiser if you wanted to trade him right now? A guy for a guy.
Yeah, probably. He was a third-round pick. He played 57 games in the NHL last season. He's just been okay. I think it's just a guy for a guy. It's a change of scenery for a change of scenery. Maybe the team that acquires Kaiser guarantee him more time. Also, piggybacking on what Jimmy said, if he doesn't sign by December 1st, he doesn't accrue season time, so he will be an RFA the following year. So there's no benefit for him not to sign.
Nowhere for him to play. Yeah.
No. And he has to play at least 40 games to accrue a season. Otherwise, he's still an RFA. So I think you trade it. It might be like, I always go, the Hawks acquired Peter Regan. Remember that? Like, it was literally like bad for bad. Like, I think that's what Kaiser might be. He just might be, all right, we'll acquire a guy we might use sparingly or up and down or something like that. It'd be hysterical if they went and traded Wyatt Kaiser for Isaac Phillips, just so you could shuttle Isaac Phillips back and down so the prospect Twitterverse could go insane. I think that'd be hysterical. It's not going to happen.
It would be a little bit, yeah. I don't know. Well, Wyatt, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I mean, it should be.
To quote the great Larry David, nobody effing cares. Like,
oh man. Cool. Hey, so what is going on right now? We've got the Tom Curvers rookie camp about to happen. That happens this weekend. Where's that happening, Sean? Do we even know where it's happening?
I thought it was in Minnesota this year. It's usually in Traverse City, Michigan.
Nice.
But I thought it was in Minnesota this year. Hold on.
Gotcha. Okay. So we've got, technically some Blackhawks that are rookies. Artem Levshinov, Sam Rinzel, Oliver Moore that are participating, and then some guys that have had a little bit of time, Ryan Green, who's had 2 games. So we're going to see some rookies in there technically. We're hoping that the big boys show out. Jimmy, who are you interested in seeing in this tournament based on the roster? Is there anyone to keep an eye on that could have some sort of performance in this tournament that might translate into, someone going into training camp trying to earn a spot that might be noteworthy?
I kind of referred to them earlier. I kind of want to stick away from the Big Ten names that everyone knows, but they're both defensemen. I'm looking at left-handed defenseman Tage Harding and Ty Henry. Tage Harding, I mean, I got to see him a little bit in Rockford at the end of last season. He's a massive human being, like absolutely just gargantuan. And he proved it at the end of the AHL season last year. I think he's looking to get a good camp and find himself in the top 4 of the Rockford IceHogs next year. He really wants to make a name for himself there. And Ty Henry had a really good season last year in Erie. He's very much a defensive defenseman. He's fast. He's mobile. He's not going to light up the score sheet. I mean, just looking at his stats, in the last 2 seasons in the OHL, in about, what is that, 100, I want to say that's 117 games, he has 1 goal. Like, he's not a goal scorer, but he's very much a pure defensive defenseman. He's very good in the defensive zone. I expect this kid to, I think he's 19, so he can't make it to the, let me see. Yeah, he can't make it to the AHL this year, but I think he's going to take this camp to really put his name out there as a guy that can be really trusted in the defensive zone, which is something I think the Blackhawks defensive core needs. They need a guy that you look at and go, yeah, this is purely a defensive defenseman. I have no issues with him being on the roster just because of what he does, on the penalty kill and in his own zone.
Yeah. Got it. I like it. What about you, Bardo? Anyone that you're thinking about?
Yeah, I'm actually going to steal what what one of our listeners mentioned. I am Skux just said Nathan Bem. He was actually the guy that I'm looking at. Yeah, he's
my guy.
Yeah, speed and skill guy, 100%. And Arizona State commit. I think he's starting not this year, but the year after. But he's going to be actually fun to watch with a lot of other prospects, so probably around the same age. But he's definitely somebody that I'm looking at. I'm also interested actually in the goaltender as well. I want to see how the Stanislav Bereznoy.
Yeah, 22-year-old, the one that they signed over the summer. Yeah, I'm curious about that.
Curious to see what he looks like coming over here to North America and see what he looks like. And one other I'm going to throw out there is Marek Banneker. He was a first-round pick, if I recall.
John, there's still a couple left. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a first round pick. Yeah. The line.
Yep,
the
number
line
27.
Yeah. Lardis' line mate. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually curious to see how he does with this group.
Yeah. And he had a shoulder injury last year and did not play very much. Is that correct? Or am I making that up?
Yeah, no, he was injured last year. He had some time that he missed, but he
Gotcha.
played well when he was healthy. So
He did play well. Yeah, I am Skooks. Good call. Thank you so much for listening and for writing in. Shawnee, what about you with the half of a player that's left?
Yeah. So I guess I'll go with Aiden Thompson. I liked him. He played 4 games. He played 4 games at Rockford.
Yeah.
He drove his line. I really want to see what he does against a mixture of prospect, AHL, NHL, and ECHL guys. And then I'm just curious about Owen Flores. I didn't even know who he was before looking at this list. He's a goalie. They signed him out of the OHL. He'll probably be between Rockford and Indy, but I was just curious to see what he does because you know me, I love the depth goalie that never any good, Matt Tompkins type player. So Owen Flores, you might be my guy.
Perfect. Interesting. Yeah, Aiden Thompson I'm curious about as well. I mean, he's older. Isn't he 23, 24 years old?
Yeah, he played all 4 years at Denver.
So he will be kind of the elderly statesman of this tournament, and he was on some damn good hockey teams at Denver. I think his ceiling is probably a 4th-line player in the NHL. Who knows? But sometimes you need those guys. I'm really curious about Jack Pridham.
I was going to say that's your guy.
Yeah, well, so Jack Pridham, 3rd-round pick, 92nd overall in 2024. Was originally in the BCHL and then jumped to the Kitchener Rangers last year, decommitted from Boston University this year to go back to Kitchener. Was that a good move? Who knows? I don't know. I mean, time will tell. Maybe he felt he would develop better at Kitchener. Do I want to see him in college hockey? Yeah, I really want to see him on the flank with Sasha Boisvert, which would have been really, really cool to have those guys together. But, it might be the right move for him. No judgment there. But I'm really curious to see what he can do. Really curious to see what he can do, to see if he can pump in some goals. And then obviously I think most Chicagoans are really excited about AJ Spellicy again. We'll see how he does against, he'll probably do very well in this tournament against guys his own age. And then he'll get in training camp and he'll throw one hard body check and everyone will be working on his plaque for the NHL Hall of Fame in the 300 level of the United Center. But at any rate, it should be interesting. Are these games televised? Probably not.
They're going to be on YouTube. That's usually where you can find them.
Okay.
And it is taking place at the TRIA rink at Treasure Island Center in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Sweet.
So, Saturday's game will be at 6 p.m. and then Sunday, Hawks Blues, and then Sunday it'll be Wild Hawks at 3 p.m. Central. Usually you can find them on YouTube. The Blackhawks YouTube channel has streamed them in years past, so I wouldn't be shocked if they did that again.
Yeah, it says in the release all scrimmages will be streamed on Blackhawks.com and the Blackhawks app.
Oh, okay.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, of the guys that are in, this is a good segue, of the players that are in this Tom Curver's rookie showcase, you can make the argument probably for Ryan Green, Oliver Moore, Sam Rinzel, Artem Levshinov to probably be the guys that maybe you can guarantee are going to be NHL players. Maybe not as much Ryan Green. Those 3, and then Ryan Green, I think, is going to make it, but who knows if he will. Who knows about Nick Lardis? Everyone's wondering how that's going to pan out. But most of these guys that are on this will be Rockford bound. Good segue into Jimmy's article. Jimmy had an article last week about the happenings in Rockford's and the build up to the Rockford IceHogs season. Jimmy, talk about that article and also talk about some of these rookies that you think, might be pretty positive additions for the Hoggies.
All right, I'll start mostly with the coaching staff because that was the biggest change. Rockford IceHogs brought in new head coach Jared Nightingale. Now, for all Rockford fans out there, they know this guy. He's a former captain of the Rockford IceHogs, and he was an assistant coach for a while. Actually, he was an assistant coach up until last season, and then he decided he's going to go to the ACHL, South Carolina Stingrays, and he leads them to one of the best seasons in ECHL history, 52-15-5, which is the team's single season record in points and wins. So at 41 years old, he's already got a really good resume as a coach. And I think he was brought in mostly just because he has familiarity with the organization. Plus, he's young. Being a coach at 41, being a former player, you get that camaraderie, especially with young players that are expected to join this team. And this team is very much expected to be young. I mentioned in the article that like the Rockford IceHogs lost their first, third, and fourth highest scores in the offseason. You know, Cole Gutman, who was one of their all-stars in the AHL, he went to the LA Kings. Akuratu, he went over to Finland. Zach Sanford, former Stanley Cup champion Zach Sanford, that is.
Yeah, got a goal. Didn't he get a goal in Game 7 in 2019 in the finals?
He did. I think he had the game-winning goal. So he's in the Swiss League. Mayhew who is the fourth highest scorer. He's remains an unrestricted free agent. And then Jalen Lipin, he was an RFA that they did not retain. So he
just signed with the Stingrays.
He did. Oh, okay. So he's trading places with Jared Nightingale. So that's 155 points just in forwards that they've lost. So it to me, that tells me that the Rockford IceHogs are opening a lot of space in their top six for very young forwards. I think, and if you look at all the signings and re-signings they had, like they didn't really bring in a ton of talent to replace what they lost. I mean, they re-signed guys like Kevin Fitzgerald and Captain Brett Sini. Obviously, Fitzgerald looked awesome. He came in on PTO last year and he got signed to a contract this year. I think a 2-year deal with Rockford. Same with Brett Sini. It just shows his impact. He was a partner of Artem Lefshaw basically the entire time. So he's a guy I think the IceHogs are really going to trust with this.
And he played under the veteran exception all year, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Explain that, Jimmy, because I don't think a lot of people know that.
A veteran exception. So with Rockford, not Rockford, with the AHL, they don't want your team. They basically don't want a team to basically sign a bunch of veterans that are borderline NHL players and just run over the rest of the league. They kind of want to maintain the idea that although this is a professional league, it's a place for young players to get into the professional game. So I believe you can dress, I think it's either 6 or 7 veteran players. And Kevin Fitzgerald, most of the nights, was one of those 6. So that's why he gets like the veteran exception. And that's where this contract comes in. So like they were able to retain him on the veteran contract, which is really hard to do because a lot of veterans in the AHL have a lot of leverage. So retaining a guy like Fitzgerald is really big for this team. I think that was a top priority for Rockford. So getting him back as a veteran is a huge deal. I know signing in the offseason, I think a lot of Blackhawks probably don't remember this one, but I think it's going to be pretty big for Rockford. Dominic Toninato, he was the Manitoba Moose captain for all year. He's 31 years old. He has some NHL experience. I think he comes in, brings a lot of leadership. He had 36 points last year. He's going to help replace a lot of it, scoring on the top 6. But as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of room on the top 6. I think if you're a Blackhawks fan, last year was your time to look at Rockford and go, oh, crap, look at all these young defensemen. This year, I think it's going to be, hey, look at all these forwards that are going to have a ton of space to move. I'm talking to guys that we already know that are already on the roster. Gavin Hayes, Sammy Savoie, and why am I blanking his name? I'm just blanking on his name. But you're also going to get a couple other guys that should really step into the top 6. I'm talking Aiden Thompson, Ryan Green, Nick Lars. Those are the 3 forwards I think should take the next step into taking the top 6 in Rockford. So to bring this all the way around in terms of previewing these Rockford season, it's a lot about fresh faces. I talked to Dana Gray. I got his comments for this article. And the thing he really emphasized was they want this team to have, quote, a plethora of young talent that is champing at the bit to take the next steps. So last year was the defensive core in Rockford that really took that chance. This year, Chicago and Rockford really said, hey, we got to clear room. We got to let guys like Gutman, Ratu, Mayhew, and Sanford walk because we need guys like Thompson and Green and Hayes and Lardis to have all this runway. We want to save 3 or 4 top 6 spots for them to go right away. So that's a big thing I think for us Blackhawk fans to really pay attention to is like, hey, like we got some forwards that need to be paid attention to in Rockford. Plus, obviously, the defensemen we already know, Kevin Korchinski, Tage Harding, Nolan Allen, other guys of that sort.
Cool. Well, good. We'll hope for a good season in Rock Vegas. Jimmy, thanks for all your homework on that. Big time stuff. And read his article, folks. Jimmy's a good writer. He wrote a good little preview. So we've seen how Rockford's going.
I even got some quotes from Aiden Thompson in there. Yeah, I was
awesome.
Made aware of an interview he had. So I was able to get some quotes. And he talked a lot about how Rockford and Chicago have treated him extremely well and how important these prospects are to both Rockford and Chicago. And it's really good to hear young players that, really feel valued by their AHL team.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I do want to let's go around the league for a little bit here. And we do a real I just want a quick congratulations before we go around the league to Jeremy Colleton, whose Lakeview home was sold for $1.7 million. And hopefully, so the last remaining remnants of Jeremy Colleton are now out of Chicago. And so, Jeremy, congratulations on that. I hope this is the last time we ever speak about you. And that you take that cash and you put it into some interest savings or something like that, and walk away from the sport of hockey. At any rate, that aside, some weird happenings around the league right now. One, let's talk about Connor McDavid's contract real quick, or his contract that hasn't happened. I want to talk about that. I also want to talk about Lane Hudson and his dad, because that's kind of wild. Maybe we should start there. Lane Hudson. A lot of people think he got snubbed for not being an Olympic invite for Team USA. Now, did he merit the invite? Probably. Is he worthy of making the team? I do think that's up for question. Why that's up for question is that this team should be built to beat Canada. And that's what you need to do. Now, I am a huge Lane Hudson advocate and supporter because I like it when undersized players do well in a bulky man's league. Okay? It's cool. I like his speed. Yeah. Does he need some work in the defensive zone? Absolutely. Did he get snubbed? Number one, I don't think he should make the final team. Should he have been invited to camp? Maybe. Did he get snubbed? What's this stuff with his dad? I don't know if you guys have seen this and the viral thing that his dad put out there. Thoughts on Lane Hudson? Barred.
I mean, should he have gotten invited? Yes. And then no, he should not have made the team. But I think it's valuable experience. And I think when guys are, these rookies that come in, I think it helps them and it helps their confidence and it gives them some exposure on the international stage. I think bringing them into this is harmless. What does it cost them? Meals and travel expenses. I mean, just bring them in and let them practice, let them run a couple of drills. It's not that big of a deal. So, yeah, I think he should have been rewarded with that experience at minimum.
Yeah. Shawnee, what do you think? And I mean, his dad obviously posted a video talking about how, well, we're Canadian citizens too. Maybe he'll jump to Canada. That's also not an option. I mean, Canada's defensive course, pretty darn good. Should you just give an invite to someone who's probably not going to make the team? I mean, they did it. I mean, Frank Nazar probably won't make the team. What are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Yeah, I think it's all just depends on what your positional depth is. And if they didn't think Lane Hudson was like worthy of going to camp, then that's their decision. His dad taking to Twitter and saying that we've been loyal to USA Hockey for all these years. Like, I'm sorry, it's not a loyalty contest. Like, Bill Guerin's job is to put the best team on the ice to win the Olympic gold medal. And if he doesn't do that, he's going to be out of a job. So we live in the era of social media now, and dads who have been living vicariously through their sons forever feel that they have to put it out there and defend their son any way possible. We've seen it in football. We're going to see it in another book in football coming out. It's just, I think it's overblown. Lane Hudson's dad, take a chill pill. Your kid is not it's not the end of the world that he didn't get invited to a camp at 21 years old.
And if anything, I mean, he still has a good career ahead of him. But
he's going to play in the Olympics for Team USA at some point.
Can I just say one thing? There's only room on this planet for one Lamar Ball. We don't need another one.
We don't need any more of those.
Yeah, we needed him to stay in his lane.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this is Riley, by the way.
So thanks for the call. First time, long time.
Yeah. No, I mean, Lane Hudson's a great hockey player. He's awesome. He will put up points when they play Germany in the Olympics, when they play Norway, when they play, lower level international competition. I don't think he will be very useful against Canada, Finland, Sweden. I just don't. If the rinks are going to be NHL size, which I believe they're going to be, there's just not going to be room for speedy, defensemen to do the kinds of things that he's able to do in regular season NHL games, not against that competition, not against the world's best. So I don't think it's a snub. Sure. Should he have got the invite for camp for experience? Okay. At the same time, if you're not going to, if you're going to defer someone, give them a shot to be admitted later. Don't just defer for the sake of deferring. College counseling talk, brutal. Connor McDavid had some comments, Jimmy, where he said he's been talking with Edmonton. And he said, yeah, everything's on the table. Long term, short term, no term. When he said no term, oh my God, he's not going to sign. Is he signing in Edmonton? Should people be freaking out?
Until he's an unrestricted free agent at 11 a.m. Central Time on July 1st, 2026, I'm not buying into the idea that he's going to be an unrestricted free agent. I listened to Elliot Friedman's 32 Thoughts in his most recent podcast, and they had spent some time speaking about these comments. And he said essentially that Connor McDavid has become the most obsessed man with winning. He is psychotic in terms of how much he thinks about winning, and winning the cup is the only thing this man cares about. This man has gone to 2 straight Stanley Cup finals, and he's lost both. He doesn't give a shit about anything that is not winning the Stanley Cup. So every comment he says, you got to remember, this guy just wants to win the cup. He really does. He probably does realize that Edmonton right now is the best shot in terms of just signing a contract and getting there. Maybe right now. But he's also probably thinking long term. So maybe he's putting the ball in Stan Bowman's court and saying, hey, we just got to 2 straight Stanley Cup finals. It's hard to get the 3 in a row, and how can we maintain this for the rest of my career if I'm signing here long term? Yeah. And based on Friedman's comments, he said, like, Connor McDavid also understands that he can't take up 20% of the cap and continue to make the cup. Like, he can't have this obsession with winning and taking, $16 million every year.
Fair. Yeah, that makes sense.
So
he's putting my feeling goes eggs into the Stan Bowman basket.
Stan Bowman won't pay him that much. He will.
Yeah. So my opinion on
whatever it is, he doesn't care. He's going to be gone in 3 years anyways.
So Connor McDavid, when I hear those comments, when it's short term, long term, no term, my interpretation is not that he wants to leave. My interpretation is he doesn't give a shit about money. He gives a shit about whatever it takes to win a championship. So term doesn't mean shit to him. He just wants to win a cup. So he doesn't care about questions when it comes to like, hey, how much money you make? The only question he wants to answer is, hey, how's the Stanley Cup feel in your hand?
He's making more controversy with his comments. That's the thing, though.
He probably doesn't know that.
He didn't say anything.
But he can't win in that scenario if he decides not to talk to the media.
Well, don't say anything about it. Just say the agents are working on it. Like, that's all he's got to say. He said no term, and like Andy said, the whole thing blew up.
Well, I know, but you can't put that on McDavid. You can't be like, you shouldn't have said that. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like,
it's a bad slip for him.
But helping the entirety of the situation.
I also think we've talked about this before. We say it all the time. People are bored when the season's not going on. So people latched onto that for like a 48-hour. Oh my God, this is the biggest news.
Well, he's also Connor McDavid. If somebody else said that, if somebody on the Utah Grizzlies said that it was up for a contract, no one would care.
Kaiser said that nobody gives a crap.
Yeah,
right.
Again, I hear those comments, and the reason he mentioned no term is like, hey, saying no term makes it easier for me to win. Like, I want to put the pressure to win this year or with short term or with long term. I want whatever it takes.
Earlier,
Again, because he just wants to win. Elliot Freeman has said
he
over and over he doesn't care about anything else.
I would, if I'm Connor McDavid, I would strongly consider a short-term, like 2-year deal.
Yeah.
Like, here's how I sign with you, Edmonton. I'll give you 2 more years to figure this out.
Yep. And if we don't win, I'm out.
I actually agree with that.
At 30, he's still going to be a very someone will sign him big.
He's going to Dallas.
But I don't.
Dallas and he'll win.
Yeah, but locking in for 8 years when I don't know. In Edmonton, they're such a curious case because they runner up 2 years in a row, and yet they still seem so far away. It's like a really bizarre. I think part of that is Florida's just that good, and Florida's going to be that good. Maybe you do
part of it too. Part of it too is that Edmonton is really bad at. They are really bad at. We all know exactly what it is. It's defensive depth and goaltending. Like it's really bad.
Yeah.
A team without Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl probably doesn't make it past the second round.
Yeah.
With Stuart Skinner.
No.
So I think that's just the one thing. Is like, yeah, Connor McDavid has dragged a terrible bottom six, a mediocre bottom pairing defensive core, and a very mediocre goaltending group because he's the best player in hockey and best player in the world. So I think everyone realizes, like, yeah, you can be the best player in the world, but this is a team sport. If you have a very glaring weakness, it's just going to catch you up. Florida does.
I know, by the way, he's got Draisaitl, who's arguably a top 5 player.
Yep. The only reason I say is coming a lot of craziness is because, like Brian Burke and Burke's Law said, that like Canadian players, they put on their no trade clause all Canadian teams. Like as soon as they leave, like if they're in, like if he leaves, he's not staying in Canada. Like if it ever gets to the point he's leaving Canada, and like everybody needs to understand that, like the intense media scrutiny, like we're analyzing like the fact that he said no term, like it's insane there. So if he goes to Edmonton with a 2-year deal and they don't win, he's out of Canada.
Well, I would put it back on Stan too if I'm Connor McDavid. Like I'm not signing here until you figure out the goaltending situation.
Yeah, well,
like I don't.
I would go to Stan. You need to figure out yourself.
Stan Bowman had one job to do when he inherited one of the best teams in hockey, and he didn't do it.
He didn't acquire a goaltender at the deadline.
He had to address one position, and he didn't do it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you get, Edmonton. That's what you get. You hired Stan Bowman.
What you're telling me is I should start looking into creating a custom Connor McDavid Chicago Blackhawks jersey and really start to
go ahead.
Tires rolling on that bad boy.
Next to the Phil Kessel Chicago Blackhawks
97, 98. Here we go.
And then when you talk to a Ranger fan, they're going to be doing the same thing. You talk to a Boston fan, they're convinced it's going to happen there too. Like, yeah, there's a lot of 31 hopefuls out there in the NHL.
So you're saying
there are people that genuinely believe he'll do a hometown reunion with Toronto. Like, you really think he's going to Toronto? Hell no.
No, I can tell you here in New York, a lot of people think that they're literally like sort of clearing the deck or making things easier for next summer so they can make a run at him. I'm telling you right now.
I get text messages from Bruins fans right now believing that they're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
These guys
it's New York, it's Broadway, it's Madison Square Garden. Let me tell you something. No one gives a shit about Madison Square Garden. There hasn't been a championship won there since 1994. I mean, it's really no one cares about that. The Mecca and all that's the biggest bunch of bull crap I've ever heard.
I love it.
Well, we'll see what happens with McDavid. That soundbite really changed everything. As we close, want to take a few minutes here to talk about maybe the best student athlete in NHL history, one of the best ambassadors for the game ever, and that's Ken Dryden, who passed away over the weekend. Ken Dryden, wrote maybe, in my opinion, the best sports book of all time.
I've got the 30th anniversary, and Sports Illustrated said best sports book of all time.
There it is, The Game. And if you haven't read The Game, which he wrote in his final year of the NHL, just chronicling the Montreal Canadiens trying to win their 4th straight Stanley Cup. And he talks about the hotels, the locker rooms, the journey, how tired he was of playing hockey at the time. I mean, this is a guy who went to Cornell and won national championships, jumped in with Montreal as a rookie, won the Conn Smythe in 1970-71. If you're old enough to be a Blackhawk fan and listening, that was a heartbreaker, losing Game 7 3-2 at the Chicago Stadium when the Hawks were supposed to win that series, and it was Dryden that stole it. Ken Dryden then was the first player in NHL history and the only player in NHL history to win the Conn Smythe and then win the Calder in his official rookie year. That has never been done before or since. So then he goes on, he wins another cup in 1973. Then he takes a year off to go get a law degree at McGill before coming back to Montreal and then winning 4 more cups. So 6 cups in 10 seasons with the Montreal Canadiens. And then at the age of 31 says, you know what, I'm just kind of bored. I'm just going to do other things with my life. A lot of people don't remember that Al Michaels, the color commentator, was Ken Dryden, in the Miracle on Ice.
Yep.
So that's his voice back there.
And Ken Dryden had been Al Michaels had been doing hockey games for like a week. Like he hadn't been doing them very long before that game.
Yeah.
And if you watch the original footage, it's amazing.
Wait, Ken Dryden was the color commentator with Michaels?
With Al Michaels for that game.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Al Michaels goes former Montreal Canadiens goalie Ken Dryden, like right away.
Yeah. So the voice where Al Michaels says, "Do you believe in miracles?" and then you hear "Unbelievable." It's Ken Dryden.
That's interesting.
It's really cool. Then he goes, he's been a huge advocate for safety in the NHL, for safety in hockey with head injuries. He wrote that book about the life of Steve Monador, which really hit bookshelves and, caused quite a stir in the NHL with regards to treatment of head injuries. He was in Canadian Parliament, elected in Canadian Parliament. And I don't know, he's my dad's hero. So I've grown up learning a lot about Ken Dryden, and big loss for the NHL, big loss for hockey, big loss for sports and for just good people. Anyway, I want to take a minute. Sorry, that was a mouthful. I threw a lot out there on Ken Dryden, but I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. Oh, thanks. Well, I'm a huge Ken Dryden fan, and hockey fans around the world mourning great Montreal Canadian. Any final thoughts, shout outs, beliefs, predictions, whether it's Hawks, NHL? Sweet, man. Sweet.
So hold on. Before we get off Ken Dryden, I just wanted to piggyback on the book, The Game. Bill Simmons, the podcaster extraordinaire, wrote the foreword of the book. Bill Simmons. And he says he reads the book every year because it's that good.
He wrote the foreword, the original publication of The Game?
The 30th anniversary.
30th anniversary. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
30th anniversary, which is the copy I had.
Yeah.
I have. And I've read it once, and now I'm going to read it again, obviously. But yeah, it's just obviously if you're listening to this podcast, you're a fan of hockey. But this is just like such a great book. I cannot explain to you how, like, you have to read it because you feel like his emotion, like the fatigue and like everything he goes through, and it's just so well done. It is one of the best sports books written of all time, and
the way he categorizes his teammates, he knows them so well. The locker room conversations, everything about like who they were as players before this, the 78, 79 season, who they are now. I mean, it's very well worded and put together. He was also the winning goaltender in the 1972 Summit Series when Canada beat the USSR. Pretty cool stuff. So, and famous for a certain pose, which I'm sure is on the cover of that book that you're holding, Sean.
Yep. It's him in his Canadiens uniform where he's just standing.
Yeah, his pose. Yep. Yeah, that's his famous pose. His resting pose is what he's known for. So anyway, Ken Dryden, good stuff. Well, go Hawks. Go IceHogs. Go Tom Kerr's showcase.
And before we go, Andy, I know you said, like, does the Tom Curvers mean anything? So Frank Nazar was one of the leading scorers last year for the Hawks in 2024, and so was Gavin Hayes.
Wow.
So just kind of bring that full circle a little bit. So maybe it does mean a little bit more than we put emphasis on it for the top guys.
I like it. Well, good. Well, then I hope Oliver Moore's the leading scorer for the Hawks or something like that. Someone who's going to be in the mix. Cool. All right. Well, enjoy, folks. We're going to be back soon when training camp begins. Training camp begins next week.
Mm-hmm.
September 17th is when players report. So that is a week from tomorrow. Yeah.
Get your AJ's Policy hype machine ready to go.
Get rolling. Get rolling, folks. Again, he might have a good back check. Then we'll all get very excited. At any rate, be well and go Hawks and take care, everybody. We'll be back next week.